Hey there, welcome back to Devergo Programming Tutorials. Today we are taking a deep dive into Next.js and its project structure. This chapter will help us to understand how the Next.js project is structured and all the connection between the folders and the files. Think of it as the roadmap to your Next.js adventure. Understanding how everything is organized will make your development journey smoother and more enjoyable. Imagine your Next.js project like a well-structured city. Each directory has a specific purpose, just like different neighbors. Our goal by the end of this tutorial is to make you feel like a local in the Next.js city, familiar with all its nooks and crannies. We'll take you on a tour through the core directories, explaining what each one does and why it matters. It's like showing you the key landmark and explaining their significance in our city. I'm just using this metaphor to make you understand better how sometimes Next.js can be complex, but if we follow a good roadmap, we can make it easier to understand. Plus, we will sprinkle in some helpful tips and best practices along the way to ensure your project stays neat, organized, and ready to grow in complexity. So let's get started and let's uncover the secret of Next.js project structure. So you can see in the background, we already connected to our server with the Next.js that we installed in the second chapters of our Next.js tutorial. So we go to our project folder that is Devergo. After we are inside the folder, you can see all these structure inside. We have .next folder, app folder, node modules, public, and some files. So let's go step by step and explore each folder and each file. So we have maybe the most important folder is app. So you can consider the app folder like the backbone of any Next.js application and its routing system. In this section, we can see the principle of web routing and explore how Next.js handles routing. So first, let's talk about how a routing system is structured. So you will see some terms being used throughout the documentation. Here I can show you an image that explains how the structure is organized. So this is the structure. So we have the app folder. We have a subtree, okay, that will structure all the routing system. So the subtree can be dashboard and inside analytics and settings, and so we have the tree that is all the structure. The subtree is like a part of the tree, of course, and starting to a new root first and ending at the leaves. The leaves are the last segment of the URL, where we put inside the pages and the files. As we organize the folder, we will create the URL segment. The folder structure is correlated to the final URL. So let's talk about the app router. So in version 13, Next.js is introduced an exciting new feature that is called app router, and is built in on React server components. So this powerful addition offers extensive support for various features such as shared layouts, nested routing, loading states, error handling, and more. The app router operates within a dedicated directory that is called app, that we can see here, and it seamlessly complements the existing pages directory. So the old system was what used by Next was the pages that is in the upper level of the project folder. So actually we can integrate the same. So we can also create the header logic. So for the routing, Next.js will consider app and pages. So the tree that we are going to build inside them with different rules. It's important to note actually that the app router takes precedence over the pages, and so the routers across the directories should not resolve to the same curl path to prevent conflict during the build process. By default, component inside the app folder are React server component, and this is because it's a performance optimization. This setup simplifies their adoption, although you can still utilize a client component as needed. Let's create the folder and let's see how the routing works. So we can, first of all, we go inside the app. Okay, we are already here. We can create a new URL path, a new folder that will be a URL path that we call my app routes. And we also create in pages another route. So in this way, I want you to demonstrate how the two systems can coexist, can live together in the same project. In this way, Next.js gives the possibility to integrate the new system with the old one. We create also here a new folder that we call my page route, and inside, to make it work here, the file name must be page. We can use JavaScript or TSX. In this way we can use JavaScript because we don't need the type security check of TypeScript. So in the my page we also create a new file. The difference between them, the convention, is that in pages route we have to call it index.js, but in the app we have to call page. So we are going to create first page. So export default function my page to return. Just create a simple div. This is inline styling. The page that to be for the 100% of the view, and also width 100%. We put inside. This is my page in app router. Here we go. This is the page, and for the page in the pages route, we call it. Can copy paste the same code. This is my page in pages route. Okay, let's see how Next.js show these pages. npm run dev. Okay. npm is starting the localhost. Okay, this is the root folder. I want to check the page in my app router. We call it my app route. So here we go. We see this is my page in app routes. And we can also check the page route. So my page route, you can see other page. We have a return. Okay, because we didn't save. So I do refresh. And here we go. We have also the second page in the whole system, page routes. Okay, so let's take a look to other folders. We have the node modules. Here is the classic node modules with all the packages of Node.js that is described in a package.json. Here is all the dependencies of Next.js. We also have the public folder. The public folder will contain all the static assets like images, CSS files, JavaScript files, and everything that we need for our website, for our application. Let's take a look also to some top levels file. So actually we have nextconfig.js. This file actually is the configuration for Next.js, and you can customize various settings related to your Next.js application, such as adding plugins, or you can configure Webpack, setting up environment variables, and more. We don't go deep in this part of the tutorial. We can see later and analyze every single options. So the other file is a package.json that you already know what is this file. Next.js create automatically 4 different scripts. So the first script is nextdev to start our application in development mode. And next build is a script that start the building process to create all the production files in .next folder. So we'll optimize and create some building file inside Next. Next start is to start the production server, and next lint is to start the lint script. We don't see here, but we will see later. We can create also other file like middleware .ts. This file is used for define Next.js request middleware. Middleware function can be used actually for intercept and modifying incoming requests before they reach your root handlers. We will see in details later. At the root level also, we can create in the future files like instrumentation. Yes, this file actually contains code related and open telemetry to instrumentation and for monitoring and tracing your Next.js application. We can also create other file like .env. This file actually is really useful to keep all the environment variables in a safe place. It's used to store environment variable for your next application, and this variable actually can be accessed in your code and are often used, for example, configuration purpose or other. We can also create specific .env files like .env.local. It's a file for storing local environment variables specific for your development environment, and it allows also to override or supplement the variables defined in the .env for local development. Let's create, for example, if I create .env. Inside this file, the format of the variables has to be like that. So we can create, for example, API key, and here we will put our API key, API key. Also, we can create other, for example, database URL. Here will be the URL and many other variables. And we can also create, as I explained before, another file that is .env.local that will be integrated with this one. After that, we can also create, for example, .env.production. And actually this file is specific to store environment variable for the production environment. These variables are typically used when you deploy your Next.js application to a production server. So actually .env is like a general purpose variables, and we have more specific files for other purposes. We can also find the git ignore. Actually the git ignore, this file specify which file and folder should be ignored by Git. It is a version control system. It has to prevent unnecessary files from being included in your Git repository. We also have other file. This one is next.env.d.ts. Actually, it's better to don't modify this file because contain of the TypeScript declaration that actually is a file that Next.js create automatically, and is actually used to argument the global types and declaration for Next.js. We can also find, for example, the tsconfig, tsconfig.json. This file, this is the configuration file for TypeScript, and actually statically typed superset of JavaScript. It defines compiler options, type checking settings, and other TypeScript specific configuration for your project. We also have files like we don't find here, but we can create and set for specific needs. For example, the jsconfig.json that is similar to tsconfig, and the difference is this file is used to configure option for JavaScript. It's a sort of TypeScript-like options, but it's for JavaScript, and it provides IDE and tooling support for JavaScript projects. We have the last file of our list. We also have Tailwind that we will see later, is for the CSS configuration. And another file is postcss.config.js. Actually, this is file of the configuration for the post-CSS that actually is a CSS preprocessor somebody used. It allows you to define plugins and transformation for processing your project CSS, including integration with framework like also Tailwind or other framework. So let's talk about a really important folder that is .next. So this file is maybe one of the most important folder in our project. Actually, the next folder is a critical directory that plays a a really important role in the build and runtime of our Next.js application. It should be treated as an integral part of our project build process and not manually modified unless you have a deep understanding of Next.js internals and a specific need to do it. So this file you can see contains various files and subdirectories generated during the build process. And its primary purpose is to optimize and streamline the execution of your application. For the last part of this tutorial, I want to also discuss about the kind of file that we can find inside the folder. For example, we have a layout file that we can find here. This is the layout file that actually is the folder that contains UI components that are applied to a specific route segment or its child route. This layout actually is global, if we define here, and is applied to all the route inside the app directory. We see the page file before, so is a convention name for the page. We can also create in the future loading.js inside the route, that in the loading can be also a folder. So you define, we will see later anyway, you define UI component also that are displaying while a segment is child route are loading. We can also define not found files that you can create also UI component for handling situation like route are not found. So also, of course, the error file to manage error, to show to customer depending on the error that the application produces. So we can also create a special page, a special file, global error. There is also some file called template, we will see later. Actually, you can create a specialized re-render layout UI component that is called templates. And finally, we also have a special folder called default that serves as a fallback UI for parallel routes that we will see later. We have reached the end of this video tutorial, and I genuinely hope you have enjoyed this content. If it has been helpful to you, please show your support by liking the video and sharing it with your friends on social media. If you haven't already, I warmly invite you to subscribe to my channel to stay updated on upcoming lessons. Don't forget to check out my website, devergolabs.com, where you will find a plethora of interesting programming content. You can also send me collaboration requests and explore all the programming services we offer. Your participation and support are crucial in my growing and to grow this community and providing you with even more valuable resources. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video tutorial.